Good morning. Today we are going to talk about some kind of a virtual topic. This topic was mentioned at the plenary session last year of Finapolis. This is about a virtual reality, and it's about, just money and financial services, whether this is a virtual reality and who is providing this virtual reality. Now, usually a person does not have enough experience and it makes it different from an animal. And the person is trying to live through the experience without, just living through the reality by making up different fairy tales, different fantastic stories, and then making different fiction films about dinosaurs, etc. And the latest phenomenon in the digital life of a person is virtual reality, which he is living through not like a spectator, but as a co-participant of this virtual reality. So a person is a participant of virtual reality. He does not only see it, feel it, like in a cinema, for example, 3D cinema. They also participate in 3D reality by developing the by choosing the development of a plot, participating in the plot of virtual reality. For me, unfortunately, and for some many people, there are just this is not very good for us. Is that there are a lot of young people who have good brains, who are very clever, but who choose this virtual reality as a permanent residence for them. Of course, just a person cannot, just fully reject reality because a person is a physiological body, but whatever goes beyond to the basic needs, it happens like that. For example, in Japan, 20% of young people, they spend their life in virtual reality in full. This also happens in Russia, and this happens in other countries where there is internet and where there is enough money to buy a gadget. But even if you look, just at what is happening in other companies that produce augmented reality, and these devices are going to become cheaper and going to become better and better. And whatever is happening as a progress in hardware, this is going to expand the attractiveness of virtual reality. If the virtual reality exists and we're not fighting it, and we are not fighting virtual reality, and besides, sociologists and psychologists do not believe that that virtual reality is not a sickness, because people feel they're quite comfortable and they understand what is happening. So therefore, just like in real life, virtual reality will also come to the finance, because today the whole world is all around finance. Finance is everywhere, and today we are going to discuss the prospects of the development of market of virtual reality for the financial services. We are going to discuss what financial services exist and who are going to provide those financial services. Is it going to be provided by the company who provide virtual reality and they are going to provide financial services, or maybe the classical institutions are going to include into their strategy this part of the market as a piece for which they're going to compete for, they're going to struggle for, and they're going to develop it. Now, and by the end, we are going to make a short survey. This DFA and CBC is everywhere, let alone, artificial intelligence, which is going to be the topic of the next Finapolis forum. But so we will see if CBDC is a bridge between the virtual reality and reality. And but where does this bridge lead? Is it going to go to the classical institutions, or or virtual reality that is going to come to the classical institutions? So today we have very interesting speakers. Two speakers are going to participate remotely. This is Aleksandr Magomedov, who is the head of new bank, a bank which is called 131. This is the latest license which was given by the central bank in the banking market. And this bank is not usual because it uses innovational methods and business models that are related to this virtual reality activities. And Rustem Zakirzianov, he is the director for development in the Russian Federation and the CIS of the payment company called Helipay. He is going to present to us the Chinese experience, which is also interesting to us because we in China, both in China, us in China, have started developing in this area a little bit later than other countries, but we have common views, in particular around bitcoins, and China is a little ahead of us. And for us, it would be interesting to know what we are going to see tomorrow, of what around what the Chinese are experiencing today. We have also a representative of regulatory bodies who is responsible for CBC and who is responsible for payment services in the Russian Federation and for regulation. Her name is Alla. We know that law number 86 forbids using surrogates in the Russian Federation. We will see how the regulator is, what the regulator's attitude to virtual money or virtual reality, and whether virtual reality exists in the Russian Federation. Smirnov Ivan, who is next to me, he represents VK. VK is a social media, so VK has moved to Russian Federation just recently, and our congratulations. I think that this is very good because you have to live and exist where you have been born. VK is one of the leaders of Russian Federation for the creation of virtual spaces such as social media, games, etc., etc. The biggest bank is also part of our discussion. Aleksandr, who is the next speaker, and he is going to represent the Sberbank. He is head of the blockchain laboratory in the Sberbank, and he also works on virtual finance and virtual financial tools. So it will be very interesting to listen to the opinion of the representative of a big bank about the future in this segment. And we also have a representative of the biggest private bank, which is Alfa-bank. And it's represented by Giyazov Alexey, who is responsible for marketing, design, and client attraction to the bank. So, and Alfa-bank is also having a very interesting initiatives on opening physical offices. But Alfa-bank will also tell us a lot about virtual reality, I hope. I'd like to start with a question to Ivan. Ivan, can you tell us, virtual reality, is it something marginal, or it exists already and it is expanding? What is the audience? What are the needs of this audience from the position of from the experience of your company? Good morning to everyone. In fact, virtual reality or even virtual universe, it exists already. Above all, it includes social media, social networks, such as Vkontakte, which was 17 years old just recently, and Odnoklassniki, and other social media, and other services, game services that we provide. And there, these universe absorbs people, and people, just spend a lot of time, a long time there, listening to music, buying different digital goods, and not only digital goods, also physical goods. And another step towards a virtual reality is a technology which is called Vmoji. Vmoji, when you take a photograph and then the users, they like uploading their photographs, such as selfies or photographs with somebody, and then you can take a few selfie photographs, and then you can create an Vmoji avatar. And this is the first step of to be present in virtual reality, which is supported by such technologies as VR, AR, etc. Another thing which is more related to virtual currencies, for example, and in general, which is more related to digital assets, it is what we launched last year, in particular NFTs. We see that the young audience or young people are interested in these things, they actually find ways and learn about different nuances very fast. They know how to create a virtual wallet. They know what is NFT. Young people just learn things very fast, and we can see where the client's experience can be improved by using NFT, and we're going to monitor the changes and the developments and evolvement of these technologies. So this is in brief. And now, speaking about the problem, we do have some challenges. In particular, we have a great demand for seamlessness because, VK, social media, is a set of different platforms and services, and we can see that the user has a great demand for that, and they always tell about their demand. And so what they need is to have a seamless transition between different platforms. Within the social media, they should probably, seamlessly go to Zen social media, from Zen social media to some other social media, and they would like to make transition not only seamlessly, that is to say, to enter and to exit very fast, but also to be able to use a wallet that would always be available immediately in order to pay for different goods or for subscriptions or, for example, for lessons, etc. And what's interesting is that, in fact, in Odnoklassniki, they have their own virtual currency. In Vkontakte, they have their own virtual currency. In large games, they also have virtual currency. And for us, it's an open question. So what should we do with that? Because, just moving towards merging all these currencies into one single currency, or maybe some other options could be proposed for that purpose. But can you earn money in virtual reality? Earn money? Because you are speaking about currency, where do you get that currency? It only comes from outside, or the users can also earn money? Well, the currency is generated within the platforms, within these games, and it's no secret, especially in game industry, there are different skills or accounts that have to be improved, and where people would like to get some exclusive items, and then these things could be sold or resold to others. The young generation, they find all kinds of different ways to capitalize on their activities. In 2013, the European Commission gave a definition for virtual money. Virtual money is a money which is not issued by the central bank, or which is not related to fiat currency, and which is used by physical or legal entities for payments and can be transferred through electronically. So this is kind of a definition that is used in your virtual reality of what currency is. And usually it is divided into several different blocks. So, for example, some money cannot be used in some other platforms, and people would like to have seamless transition. Yes, people would like to have as little frontiers or borders as possible. Now let us speak about the Chinese experience. Rustem, can you tell us about virtual reality in China, and what financial services are very popular, and how Helipay is servicing these virtual realities? So can you tell us more in detail about that? Good day, Sergey Anatolyevich. Good day, dear colleagues. Before answering your questions, I would like to introduce our colleagues. This is the General Director Helipay. His name is Lydia Fen, and John Daly. He is the Director for International Relationships. And I'm not going to introduce myself because I was already introduced to you. Now, the General Director would like to answer the question personally. Therefore, there's going to be some translation, and our colleague, he speaks quite good Russian. Good day, dear colleagues. For me, it's a great pleasure to be present at this forum. I'm very glad to be present in this forum and to participate here. For me, it's a great pleasure that I can speak in front of you. Our company, Helipay, is one of the largest Chinese companies for international. We just implement some international activities, and today we, just developing our relations with the Russian Federation. And in the future, we're going to provide more and more financial services between China and Russia. A virtual currency is usually a currency that is used in games, or it could be a digital currency. And it is mostly used in online games or in virtual worlds. But they usually have some limitations. Their cost, their price is limited after they go outside these game platforms, depending on how many people are present on the platform. Virtual and digital decentralized finance are included different aspects of electronic economics, of electronic economy. They may coexist with the traditional financial systems, with conventional financial systems, but they also have their own peculiarities and limitations. I've got a question. Helipay is working with a classical, conventional finance, or also it is also a service provider for virtual reality, for virtual currencies that are created by Chinese companies, or you have not yet entered the sphere of internet? Now, right now we have a Chinese project of digital yuan. We are working together with the Central Bank of China and the Chinese People's Bank. We are currently implementing a project of digital yuan. Okay, we are going to speak about it a little bit later. Now, Aleksandr from Sberbank, the big bank. So how is it looking in this world? As what? As a blue ocean? Is it interesting? So what is your attitude towards virtual reality, and what do you have in your pipeline of services for virtual reality? Thank you for the question. I think that banks of all the world are looking upon the virtual reality with a lot of optimism, because the financial market has changed a lot, and we have discussed it a lot yesterday and the day before yesterday. For banks, what's interesting are three things. First of all, it's assets, transactions, and users. And all these three components, they are always changing. And for the Sberbank, the virtual reality is something which is very wide, which includes lots of different alternative assets, where the transactions are moving on through different paths. So not necessarily they can move from a bank to bank, but through different, paths, and where the users they would like to have more freedom, and we just put aside, gamers or clients. I think that the users we would like to take their assets together with them, so that when you go to some virtual space, there actually you don't own anything. We are only renting things or leasing things. We have to agree with the terms and conditions, and if something happens, then everything is turned off, and then we lose everything. But the virtual world, which is based on ownership, which is built based on the ownership, where the major technology is blockchain, there it changes the borders, it changes the frontiers, and banks and technical companies, they have an understanding that the users now have a different need, a different requirement, a requirement to move among virtual reality, requirement to take their things that belong to them out of the virtual reality, to sell these property, to give it as a gift. And here we, as a bank and as a technological company, we have a special laboratory for blockchain, where we're studying the new decentralized internet, WWW3, and we are preparing to build this bridge into the new world. And we would like to be among the first ones in this new world, and we would like to see our clients and meet them with the new products and services. Yes, it is important that you are monitoring it. If it is monitored by the big bank, then it means that this exists, and it means that we have to listen to others as well. Now, what is the opinion of Alfa-bank? Alfa-bank has a lot of interest, or I would better say we have a great appetite, and I'm going to tell you what our appetite is about. We had just one unsuccessful experience, and I'm going to tell you about it because it was made using the older ways. We would like to use the new ways. Above all, I would like to tell you a couple of facts, just like game money that are used in games. I learned that experience, and it seems to me that I'm missing there something. Virtual money, it has existed for quite a long time, together with the different fairy tales and myths, etc., in the internet. Or if you look, for example, the research business, finance business article, it was an article that was written in 2022, and the investments into Lego games was more profitable than buying different financial tools or assets. And I'm going to tell you just the names of some game sets, because each of those game sets could give you up to 600% of annual income. It's a Millennium Falcon, or it's a corner cafe, Death Star 2. So you can see that the people have these, just Lego games. And the last one is the Imperial Star Destructor. Well, I do have all these games because my kid is a fan of these games, and my husband has taken away to the cottage out of the house because it was too many games in my house. Okay, if you just keep it for a couple of more years, then it's going to be very profitable, for you will be able to sell it for a very good price. Now, speaking about offline, there is a small exchange, stock exchange, which is called G2G, and it has more than 3 million active users, so which means that it's a very good exchange. There you can just buy anything. You can go and select a game. For example, I could see that there was a game which is called Dot. If you buy a good account within 3 years, of course, you can buy some, just different gaming item. You can buy an account, for example. An account is the most liquid one. In 1 year you could, just earn up to 200% per annum and without any volatility. If there is a great volatility in Bitcoin, there you have only growth. In that exchange, you only have a growth. So here we have great prospects. For example, if you buy an account can cost up to 2 or 3,000 US dollars, so it's quite expensive. You can buy 10 accounts, that is to say, write down the login and the password, and then you start traveling around the world. You sell these or those things, then you turn them into the fiat money, and that's a very good experience because some of the capitals could be brought from one place to another place. If you can, if you would like to move your big capital, it's not possible because regulators will prevent you from that, from doing it. But you can do it through the game, and you can keep your money as an investment platform, and you can use it for transfer of money. And my latest idea was that I was, just recently, I was very much surprised. In X, there was in the X social media, there was a message, and it got 130 million views within 1 day. So it was the most popular message, and it was dedicated to the release of the game of GTA. GTA hasn't been released for quite a long time, so I'm calling everyone. Please pay special attention to GTA. Please note it. I think that the accounts are going to be not very expensive, but can you imagine if there are 100 million users there? Then believe me, it'll just be so much money is going to be in that game. It's going to be like an alternative huge universe, and you will be able to become its participant. What about Alfa-bank? Okay, you're talking about games. What about Alfa-bank? Alfa-bank, we had an experience of collaborating with the game, which is called the World of Times, Worship, etc. All types of different games. The idea is that you could pay in real shops, in real stores, and then get this virtual currency. But this idea didn't work because maybe we had 190,000 cards on a peak phase, but it didn't work. We decided to shut it down. And then there is a B2G exchange. The fee there 10 to 12%. This is a fee that we have already forgotten about in the conventional market. Raiffeisenbank has got this type of fee. They even have the fees up to 50%. We look at these fee profits, especially in the market which is narrowing, and we are going to do something about it because it's a very fat profit, and so it has to be taken by someone. Okay, great. So you are talking about different experiments and different currencies. And what is the regulator thinking about the ban on surrogates? We are looking at it, just very closely. There are quite a lot of discussion about it, and these are the participants of our discussions. The participants of our discussions, they would agree that in any case, the value of any virtual currency is in its connection with the virtual money, and the statistics would confirm that. And different colleagues tell us about different facts, and I also prepared here very interesting numbers. And it's a very absolutely sure that the payments in virtual worlds is not something new. I looked at the review from MasterCard for 2022, and they provide a very interesting statistics that in 2022, by the beginning of 2023, more than 3 billion people, which is more than 40% of the population of the world, were actively using computer games, and almost half of them they paid in various currencies. And it doesn't matter whether it was, just game money or stable coins or some other cryptocurrency. There are lots of different currencies, and there is a possibility to convert it into fiat money, into fiat assets. And the analysts would agree, and the participants of this panel would also agree that there is a huge crowd which are interested in that. And financial institutions are interested in that because this is a potential market where you can provide your services and your products. And this means also the expansion of the client base, where you can just do different cross sales using different tools. It means a huge audience, because my child, my son, who is 10 years old, is already, creating capital for us like that. Thank you for your prompt.
So actually, he mentioned that entrance to VK is the moment when we construct a virtual self. I think we should ask the regulators, but I think they focus on this topic. On the one hand, there is need of the person to move the boundaries and to go beyond limits. But we should understand that actually they don't only play some innocent games. Actually, there are some issues which we need to face. And before I give the floor to Aleksandr Magomedov from Bank 31, I want to focus on the following. Now we are discussing virtual finances, but still everybody is within their own boundaries. So you want to unite currencies and have one exchange point. The Sber wants to create the blockchains of their ownership so that nobody can use them. They want to increase their attractiveness. Alfa-bank were trying to create something with the cards, but they still believe something. Our Chinese partners and colleagues want to move away from CSBC, but we work on the verge of virtual realities. Can you tell us if you are going to help VK and help them earn a lot of money using financial services? And what do you think about the development and the penetration of finances into the virtual world? Actually, we're happy to work with VK. They are our partner. And we can continue this discussion. I can add that to what has already been mentioned. Actually, I'm quite skeptical about virtual worlds with different helmets and all this stuff, but it's my personal opinion. But for the past few months, I saw the trend when we combine different modules, and you can see the use of certain technologies. So you can create virtual reality in VK, and it will look like you. It will be your virtual image. And actually, if it can imitate your speech, it can replace you in the virtual world. And it can even replace me. For example, now it would not be me, but some virtual person speaking now in the screen. I'm sure that definitely there will be some development breakthrough here, but we don't know what will change in the economy bring to us, how it will change our life. We don't know yet. Technologies appear very fast, but talking about real money is, if we talk about business and profit, what is interesting for us. Here we should mention games, because almost everybody plays computer games. Actually, it's normal and it's a huge market, and this market is the source of the spiritual values. And I prefer mostly not virtual money term, but virtual values. I like this term more, because they can actually, it can be some object. It doesn't have to be money. It can be some tank or weapons or even your account. And I think not only regulators of different countries have questions of how this world is created. Actually, the developers of games also face certain issues, and they try to fight against them. And actually, if we talk about the set of virtual games, they can cost a lot, and they could be used for exchange. And actually, it's a liquid asset, and it's tangible, and it is in high demand. And actually, it could be exchanged to real money, and it bears potential risk. according to the federal law number 115. And as far as I know, the Bank of Russia considered a certain issue of servicing payments in the game industry, but I haven't seen this section appearing yet. But I think if we talk about the game market, it's one of the virtual universes which helps us to talk about virtual values and virtual money. But actually, I don't believe that virtual money will be would be able to replace real finances. I don't believe this. And I think my colleagues from VK will confirm that if you do business, a digital business, in cases when there are impulsive purchases, you should get money from the client using any way. And I think it doesn't only concern game money. If you can pay with a bank card, okay. If you can use faster payment system, also you can use it. You can use anything, even with the balance of your smartphone. Actually, developers add these options of payment, and I think this virtual money is the means of payment will definitely exist, and they will compete. And we discussing who will win. But I don't think there will be victory of one type of money over the other. I think both of them will coexist. But what do you think about the micro loan organization? Do you think it will exist in the virtual world? So you're talking about some users who have developed accounts, but you don't know who this person is. But why don't you credit a person who owns this account? So given that VK use different virtual currencies, there is need. Why haven't you done this? Actually, we don't provide loans to them as banks, but actually we service transactions here, and for the Russian citizen, access to purchase of games has become complicated. If we talk about Turkish accounts of Sony PlayStation, actually they are sold very well. Actually, we have certain platforms which help us to service them, and Russian people can easily buy games which they want to buy. But if we talk about the currency exchange point, first I would study this issue in details before I start doing this. Because if we talk about any exchange, there can be some undesirable situation, especially if we talk about organization which is licensed. That's why you should be very careful with this. So we will come back to the regulators, but does your bank consider the virtual world as your jurisdiction? Some colleagues say they pay, they mine, they exchange, they sell. But actually, I understand we're talking about the virtual world, but what about the regulators? What do you think about it? Actually, we can't ignore it, because if we talk about demand on the separations, we should understand what happens there, what makes people do this, and what are the rules for their operation. And actually, this jurisdiction is considered from the point of legal entity. And Russian citizens have certain transactions there, and we need to understand how it works. But it's important to look at risks. What is behind these transactions? Because until this world stays virtual and nothing else happens, in this case, we don't need to get involved, I think. We don't need to be the participants of this market, of the system. For example, when they buy some tanks, but when they start having more serious transactions, and we can see certain trends when it influences the liquidity of the banking sector, when there are higher risks involved. In this case, regulators should pay attention to this. They should fight against certain violations, and we should think about risks. But I can calm down the audience. Actually, you're just having a closer look, you experiment, but actually you don't control it yet. Yeah, we're just having a look at it. So coming back to our Chinese friends, Helipay, are they planning to get into the virtual world in terms of providing services for game characters? Do you think there is some prospect for your company to credit them to have exchange transactions, or you just service their payments at the bridge of the border of the virtual and real world? Actually, we even have virtual account. And usually it's used just a name to pay something according to the real contract. And it's true for cross-border transactions. Actually, we asked our colleague more details about the games, how it happens, but in China, they have already started this. They have digital wallets, they have Helipay wallets, and Chinese citizens actively use them, and they use them to pay for clothes, for weapons, and they use Helipay wallets. And when Helipay enters the Russian market, we're sure that it will happen soon. And we're planning to enter the Russian market according to the board of directors. Well, I think we would be able to credit them, and Helipay would support this platform, the services. Okay, I understand what is happening with the loan, but what do you think about the fact that virtual characters in the virtual reality, who of course represent real people, bear credit obligations? What do you think about this? So let me explain this in more details. If we talk about virtual worlds, so virtual world exists, and there is high demand on what is happening, and actually you can diversify your life in such a way. Actually, you can use alter ego in some game, and you can use different avatars, thus you can have certain fun and endorphins, and it's quite natural for humans. And of course, if there is demand, there will be a supply, and this is what we can see now. And the previous days of Finapolis, we asked the regulators not to have tough control. Okay, we decided that they don't have tough control, they just have a closer look at this market, they just test it. It gives a chance to different gamers and game developers and social networks use different approaches, and still they preserve the variety. And I believe that it mostly concerns digital values rather than assets. And their amount and their cost will definitely increase. And we have a demand from the banks because they want to help our clients to convert this virtual money into real money and vice versa, and it's a market, and this industry will definitely develop. And banks will create various financial services for this world, including lending, and we're ready to have a look at what banks can offer to our users. But VK is a company has a different strategy. We are equally distanced from everybody, and we would prefer to use our own services for our clients, but we're not planning to lend our customers yet. Alla, come back to you. Unfortunately, CBDC was not approved as the third type of currency, and the financial institute is very proud that they won. But in practice, maybe it's not that important, but actually I would feel more comfortable if we had a third form of money. And this project is still developing. But how can virtual and real world be used here? What could be the functionality of CB2C? Could they provide the providers of the virtual world with a basic currency instead of small currencies in different applications? And what does the central bank think about CBDC and the virtual world? What is the aim? First of all, I should mention that when we issue the digital currency of the central bank, we first think about real finances. And from the legal point of view, of course, there are certain nuances, but I'm not a lawyer, so I won't get deep into this. But still, digital currency unites the properties of cash and non-cash money. And that's why we call it the third form of money, because it's not cash and it's not also digital money on your accounts. And actually, it's in the hands of the regulator. And the major purpose of the digital ruble is to be used for payment. So you can transfer it, you can use it for payment, and this is the tool for such purposes. From technological point of view, this platform is able to be integrated with game platforms, with other platforms. And if we talk about the payment services, they have demanded personnel. And this seamless effect, when you can transfer from real world to the virtual world, as I see it, it's possible, and this platform is capable of doing this. So these worlds are virtual, but money is real. We should keep it in mind. Okay, Aleksandr, what do you think about digital ruble? Is it a bridge to the virtual reality, or is it reinforcing positions of the central bank in the virtual reality? Actually, I would have a closer look at end users, and I think that at least our industry gets deeper in blockchain, and we see that the craziest ones, the most innovative ones, start using it when they are well versed in how cryptocurrency works and the whole blockchain industry, and they can earn money on this. But there are a lot of users who start using cryptocurrency, and they use blockchain, but actually they want privacy. They want to be anonymous, so they like to conceal something. And of course, for such people, they used to use cryptocurrency. Nobody can stop them. They're going to use cryptocurrency in the future as well, and they will not use these services. But most people want to have something comfortable. They don't want to know what happens, what is behind. They just want to push the button, and that's all. And when we talk about comfort, safety is important here. Financial institutions, banks, and Sber always consider that safety is of the utmost importance. And for our clients, CBDC and digital ruble is one of the major tools where you understand who has issued it, you understand the risks. It depends on what will be the scenarios for clients to use CBDC. And if we talk about financial tools and what kind of tools banks develop, everybody wants to earn money and also to feel certain gratefulness from clients. Actually, clients also want to earn money, and the central bank will earn, yeah? Well, I think it's an interesting idea. Now we play games, children play games, or adults play games. They spend their time. Sometimes they invest their time into something. But money is earned by corporations, by big techs, by fintechs. Actually, they get money from these gamers. And if we talk about digital native generation, they will play games to earn money. And we can see it in many developing countries in the Southeastern Asia. And there are a lot of people who play games. And they don't care what interface it is, what graphics this is. Their purpose is to earn money because they have a low level of income, and the banking system is not as cool as ours. And they make money this way. But if we look at our children, they don't want to go to office. They don't want to make a lot of effort to earn money. They want to be top management right away after they finish school. And I think for such children, their major purpose would be to earn money, and the regulators, the banks, should meet their demand. Alexey? Well, what will Alfa-bank do to use CBC services? Well, it depends on the price policy of the central bank. Of course, convenience is important, but let's recollect what how FSP was entering the market, and banks tried to resist. I'm looking at you as my interlocutor. That's why I'm looking at you. You asked me the question. And here we can talk about the same situation. If we talk about digital wallets, you have a digital wallet in Alfa-bank, and you pay some fee, or maybe it's for free. You open a digital wallet in your game, and you collect money from there. But actually, when you get cash from your digital account, actually you have to pay the fee. And if it happens like this, and if it will not meet the interests of the bank or the interests of the gamers, in this case, it will not work, because banks will try to escape this, to avoid this as fast as possible, but the central bank will just ignore it. But if it's profitable for everybody, for players of the market, in this case, it would be definitely interesting. If we talk about paying using QR code, it's not very comfortable. When you just apply the mobile phone to the cash machine and and you pay, it's more comfortable. But now you need to use QR code. It's not very convenient. I think all participants of the market should agree, and actually I hope that it would be some other bank, not our bank, who will suffer. So I think we need just to find a balance. But if we can't find this balance, in this case, we will have to look for some sideways. But don't you think that you're going to get profit from this, which you will keep, and you're also going to charge a fee? Don't you think you are too greedy? Actually, we are not going to charge a fee. Why do colleagues talk about fees? They want to charge a fee, not we. We think that banks should earn money on smart contracts, on additional services. Actually, they should not charge fee for transferring money from the digital wallet to another wallet. And I think that the profitability of transaction market should change. And actually, there are certain tools to do this. And banks actually can monetize their services. And it's strange for me that Alfa-bank expects that the regulator would propose this as a business model. I always thought that it's a competitive advantage of banks. And actually, your You are more business-oriented than us. And you can invent better digital wallets than us. And Alfa-bank is actively involved in pilot project, and I'm sure we definitely think they will think about providing this service. Actually, I think we will get some new innovation. We will make up something new. But please don't forget that AI is quite expensive. So please let us earn something. And I want to have a blitz quiz with some small question. So what do you think? Will CBDC will be able to replace digital money, or CBDC will be just nothing? Could you please answer in short? I will repeat that from my point of view, these currencies would exist. They will just coexist, but it's possible that in China will use it because they issued pilot projects, and actually they will develop digital currencies and virtual currencies for gamers. They will give opportunity for them to simplify the service for such virtual economy. And I suppose that those countries who have local strong markets like VK in Russia, Alibaba in China, it would be easy for them to test it as a pilot project. And if such pilots are successful, in this case, they would become another way of payment. Helipay believes that they could coexist, and for a long time, and I'm sure it will be discussed for long. I was in Chengdu University. Actually, they created a fintech laboratory which studies digital yuan and how it could be used in various spheres of life in China. And I'm sure they will coexist for a long time. And I also agree with my colleagues. I am sure that these are two worlds which will coexist. And if we have a look at the motive, we should find the motive and the major driver. And I think the major driver of the virtual world is the desire to have fun. And the development of the technology, AR, VR, maybe is not comfortable yet, but it will definitely develop, and we will spend more time there. And of course, the cost will increase. Our time spent there will definitely monetized. But the major driver here will be the digital technology. But if we talk about digital ruble, actually, we also interact actively with the central bank on developing digital ruble. I think the major driver and force here will be the motive. I used to have one wallet, but I'm a client of a few banks, and I have different wallets, and I need to jungle with them. I need to transfer this money. Somebody limits me. Others hide certain services deep in their application, and it's real life. They want to make money on using me providing services to me. And actually, why I like digital ruble, for me, it's the reincarnation of my wallet. I have only one wallet, I have money in it, and it's irrelevant what kind of wallet it is. For me, it's important that it's convenient, and I don't need to pay expenses because I have only one wallet. And I think it's a good initiative, and I would like to thank the central bank for it. And I would agree and join the opinion of the previous speaker that they will coexist, and it will be a different structure. There will be tougher competition because not market players would be able to maintain different infrastructures, and I think time will will show what will be successful. And if we talk about clients, if they can adapt to the needs of the client, if the banks can meet the needs of the clients, in this case, they would be able to keep in line with this. What do you think? Alexey, I think in the next 5 years we will definitely see it happening, and I think the central bank can create something more comfortable for the next 5 years, and I'm sure we will have one convenient tool, and market players will adapt to this. Of course, I believe in digital ruble because I believe that's why we're developing it, and I'm sure that for the next years it will occupy most of the traffic in real and virtual worlds. Thank you. Okay, to sum it up, to sum up our discussion, I want to say the following.
В ней есть ценности, за которые держатся люди.
Virtual reality exists, and is still the field for tests, and actually it's being adjusted to the most norms of the legislation and regulation, starting from federal laws and finishing with inheritance. And I'm sure that the institutions dealing with making laws will try to develop legislation for them, and it will help our community develop. But the bad scenario is to force virtual reality beyond the Russian Federation, and I'm sure the regulator is not interested in this, as well as financial institutions. But so we should be careful. And for the banks, it's something uncertain because there are tools which are not yet developed for using them. Okay, thank you very much. I would like to thank the speakers. I'm sure it was interesting. Thank you. Goodbye.